four-piece rock and roll group from Sydney started gigging before any of them could even drink in a pub, but before long their foot tap and cowbell-filled songs shot them straight to the top. But like all things good, Contraban too had come to an end. This is their story.
The first time I saw Contraban just hanging out in the pub, I thought, now that's a band. And when they got on stage and started playing their instruments, I thought, yes, they're definitely a band.
Contraban? Man, those guys don't even sleep on tour. And the fuckers destroyed my bidet.
They're easily the best sounding local band I've ever seen. Jamil and Paul's tight as a nun rhythm section with Cal and Tom's guitar wall, they sound incredible. Contraban are the perfect blend between the MC5, the Cult, AC/DC and the Rolling Stones.
They were that kind of band that you go to the pub and there's a band playing. Contraban was that band.
I was sitting there talking to Lemmy, and he was all like, and I was like, nah man, you gotta go check these guys out. There's something to them. And he was like, so I told him to go check them out. They were playing at the Excelsior. The next night we were sitting there racking up, and he's come back in and gone, and I was like, fuck yeah man, totally, I told you they were awesome.
I saw these three guys on stage and they were alright, but then from the wings, a man in the shadows, covered in some kind of blue angel something. It was indescribable. His fiery red hair lit up the stage and took my breath away.
It started a lot like my uni degree. I mean, everyone was having a lot of fun, but no one quite knew what they were doing. There was a lot of girls around, that was pretty nice. You know, so I had a lot of fun to start off with. And my mum said to me, no, you study now, you study. And I said, no mum, I'll be a rock star. She said, no.
Much before we met Jim and Payne and stuff, it was just me and Cal and a couple other guys, and we had this, thousands of members, and finally we met Jim at we met Payne at one of Cal's parties, and it's like, hey man, are you a guitarist? Not really. Well, you are now. And Jim, I don't really remember meeting him.
I remember I was asked to try out for this band, Contraban. I liked the name a lot, and I went to try out for them the first time, and I left. Like, I was a pretty sought out drummer at the time. I'd been working sessions. I'd been earning the big dollars. I filled in for Charlie Watts quite a bit, lifted on those 2s and 4s, but I thought the band was terrible.
I joined the band in 2007. I think we were all still at high school, and they were playing, I'd seen around there playing just the small clubs and stuff. That was late 2007, early 2008. We did Rio, Wembley, Live Aid with Status Quo. We did Donington with AC/DC, played with Hendrix, and I think management had a part to do, but I think it was really to do with me.
We really knew how big they were at their launch. There must have been dozens of people there.
People who are in other bands always saying to me, I think my band is so much better than Contraband, why aren't we as popular, or why aren't we as well known, or why aren't we as successful? There's two really good reasons why. Firstly, music's subjective, so your band's not better than anything. And secondly, even if your band technically was better, I can guarantee you don't work as hard as anyone in Contraband did. Short answer, they wanted it more.
So we actually got quite famous in the end there, well, for a bit anyway. The Stones hold the record for the most people at a gig ever at the Copacabana Beach, but truth be told, we played after them to an even bigger crowd. More people just came in, so that was pretty great. But and I had to put my uni degree on the back burner. It's kind of hard, doing correspondence courses when you're on a plane. Jim's doing all the coke in the world behind you. It's kind of hard to concentrate, to be honest. But yeah, it was great while it lasted, no doubt.
Yeah, we were going really well. Got to the point where we're playing millions and millions and millions, and you just think, man, I was playing the Annandale a couple of months ago, but now it's shot all out. And everything just started working for us. People started booking us for tours. We got our own bus, the Contra bus. I always wanted a submarine, but you get what you get. But yeah, no, I wouldn't trade those days for anything, man.
From what I remember when we were at the top, what I've read is I was really on fire in those times, you know, like I was holding that band together. I was playing all the instruments without actually playing all the instruments. I recorded the songs, I wrote the songs, I packaged the songs, I drove the tour bus.
Back in the day, they used to rock up together, always all together. Like, you'd see them as a whole. But then things started to go wrong. You'd see Paul would rock up on his own, then Cal, and then Tom would rock up, and it'd be hours before you'd see Jamil. Sometimes he didn't even rock up until the show was about to start.
After touring the world and selling millions of albums, at the height of their fame, things seemed to start to crumble under the pressure, and each of the members struggled with their own personal demons, spurred on by the death of a very close friend.
I mean, one of the biggest things that really hurt the band, I think, was our band mascot dying, Jupiter, my dog. I mean, I'd prefer not to talk about it if we can. I mean, it's...
Cal's dog died. No. He got under his own thing from that. I don't really want to talk about that. Jim got really onto coke. You know, every time you'd see him, coke this, coke that, I'm gonna get some coke. He'd have coke in his car, coke in his house, coke. It was coke everything.
The amount of coke going through the studio at the time was superhuman levels. I don't think the body really should be able to take anywhere near that level of coke to actually still function. Although that's implying that he was still functioning at a reasonable level.
I mean, I guess it just started out innocent enough, right? You know, at parties and stuff. But then he started having it with dinner and lunch and breakfast, sometimes at like 11 o'clock at night.
Jim's coke addiction was so bad he lost control of all bodily functions. Touring was terrible.
I found that to be quite rough. I mean, as I said, again, I was partial to a bit of coke here and there. But he just got out of control. It'd be so often you'd see him, he'd be driving, we'd be on tour in the early days, he'd be driving and he wouldn't have his hands on the wheel because he'd be just coking up, just like a crazy man. But you know, he tried to change the band logo on a coke high. He basically ripped off the font entirely. Wasn't original in the slightest.
Everyone said I had an addiction and I was the one, you know, that led to the downfall of the monster that was Contraban. But like, little did they know those last few tours I was like struggling with some serious chronic finger pain. Cal was too busy he was the real reason we went down, like, you know.
Well, there's Cal with his voice of gravel and his hair of cowardly lion.
Oh, I see. Out of the top of his pockets, he just had stationery. So much of it.
Yeah, that really, it was the one thing that really ruined the band. Cal's commitment to university. He wanted to, like, plan his career or some shit. It was like studying and going out, like, slightly less often. Reading. Typing. List goes on, man.
Cal? Yeah, he seemed like an alright bass player, I guess.
He was, reading everything. Like, go over to his place and be climbing over books. I didn't really see him anymore because he was studying for uni, always reading books, listening to lectures, giving lectures, doing so. Oh no.
I remember at one point, Paul was making me a cup of coffee, and he and Cal got into an argument just about how many sugars that I actually have in the coffee, and it led to actually a bit of a punch-up too. And I sort of just was witnessing this and standing back and didn't want to get involved just to appear to take sides. The thing is, I don't actually even drink coffee, and I think they were just looking for that reason to fight.
Everyone was telling me it's a problem, but it's simple. With university, you've got an assignment, you just flat out do it. Whether it be, Potts' vibroslap theory or whether it's Maslow's hierarchy of needs, they're all important things you need to learn about. You can't just throw your career out the window for this rock and roll jive.
Things were starting to head south for Contraban, but it wasn't just Jim and Cal working through their issues. Unbeknownst to the others, Tom Paine had started to develop an addiction of his own.
Started analysing music pretty deeply. Not just what they were playing, but what the bands were wearing. And then you've got your greats, you've got Skinner, Ted Nugent, Status Quo. James Hetfield, circa 1986. The one thing that was pretty constant was that they all wore a lot of denim. I think the thing is when you play it to millions, sweating profusely, you need a fabric that's strong, breathable, beautiful. Denim is really the only sane choice, so sort of started from there.
I've never seen so much denim on one man.
Turbo Negro, Status Quo, I mean, honestly, there are better bands in this world.
Magic just went, you know? Like, it used to be cool, and if we got it was about the art we were creating, which is ripping off other bands.
I mean, we all dabbled in denim here and there. I mean, we all had our little issues with it. I mean, it's a great fabric. Tom Paine will tell you it's a great fabric. I mean, he's writing a book. But at the end of the day, there are different things. I mean, there's leather. I mean, satin. All these wonderful fabrics you can wear.
What addiction?
It was just denim on denim on denim on denim. I found a denim G-string in his car once.
With the others preoccupied, Paul was starting to feel left out of the band and began searching for a place to belong, a new direction.
Paul was so addicted to folk, he was just like refusing to plug his instrument in.
See, all this music he was bringing around was just, it made absolutely no sense. And there was something kind of beautiful about that.
So Paul would come round to rehearsal, and he'd bring in an acoustic guitar. I mean, he's a bass player. I mean, he fancied himself to be a guitar player, but I mean, so does Bob Dylan. But it was just nonsense music. I mean, I can't understand a word he's saying most of the time. And now with this accent, I mean, he thinks he spent a little time in Greenwich Village. He thinks he's a folk star. But I mean, it's rubbish. It's quite ridiculous.
He was listening to so much folk, he lost the will to live. Like, everything was just so... He almost started talking in flashcards.
Everyone should accept Dylan. I mean, Dylan, you know, he invented the wheel. He created music, really. Like, you know, there was music before him, but, you know, it wasn't like what like Dylan had, you know. So, yeah, I went with the whole Dylan thing, and I think that I went much better because of it. Because of the Dylan. You know, nothing without Dylan. Dylan was nothing without me.
When I come by, CD, have a chat to us, and we're around here all night. Thank you, guys.
And so the band played one final show and parted ways, each on their own course. But the question remains, will their paths ever cross again? Will their millions of fans ever get to see them one last time?
I mean, yeah, if they did a reunion gig, I'd be there for sure, depending on what else was on that night and how much, you know, the door was.
Yeah, sure, I'd go. But what I'm really waiting for, that Tom Paine concept album. I mean, keep it on the down low, but at the moment I'm kind of working on a Tom Paine cover band. We're called House of Pain.
I fucking love those guys.
Damn, I wish I could see them play one last show.
I would do another gig. I hold them no ill will. I mean, I don't know that Jim is capable of playing anymore. I mean, it's come along. His coke has come along so far, but I would do another show, yes.
I think I'll probably just give music a break and focus on my other hobbies. Kayaking, denim, maybe do like a signature line with Levi's or Wrangler. All other denim shit. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd do a last gig. That's all I've been dreaming about. I've been getting gig fit. I met up with Ace Frehley of Kiss. And we talked about it, and he kind of showed me the way, you know. He got clean after Kiss dropped him, and that's good on him. He's like all there now, mentally sound. And he just told me about this place, just past space, and that's called heaven. And if you find that, you know where your life's at. Like, look, I'm clean now. Like, that has zero coke in it.
Will we ever work together again? I don't know. What's the money? What do you got going? Come on. How about that, Mr. Time Magazine?
Contraband's lawyers met and spoke on behalf of each member in July 2012. The following conclusion was made. Contraband will be playing their last and final show at Notes in the area they got their start, Newtown, to a small select group of fans on Saturday, the 20th of October with friends Generation Swine, Tiger and the Rogues, and the Angels of the Tattooed Generation. So come down to Notes for Contraband's last show and witness their legacy one last time.
Bye. told that song.